Why? Like their fridge does not work?
Yeah. Temperature or somewhat watch.
Legit, every time you get ice cream in Germany.
But how? Why?
Unlike in the US.
Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Today we are going to watch genius German things that should exist everywhere. And we have seen Germans are the manufacturing king. They know everything.
Very innovative.
And actually we have seen very creative things from Germany. So now it's time for more. So let's watch this
Video.
First, let me say that we are originally from a southern US state called Oklahoma and now live in the German state of Rhineland-Pfalz. So maybe some of these things are more specific to our life experiences and places we have lived. So let me know your experiences with these things in the comments below.
German bags. Zips.
Whoa, stop. Who wrote this script? I didn't want to talk about zippers on clothing. Europe usually puts the zipper pulls on men's jackets on the wrong side anyways. Oh, I see what we did there, because I do actually want to talk about zippers, just not clothing zippers. I'm talking about Reißverschlussverfahren. Okay, imagine you were driving down the highway, you notice some signs for construction up ahead, and the left lane will soon be ending. What do you do? Well, in Germany, the answer is simple and genius.
Like how? You will zip
But in
yourself?
the US, specifically Oklahoma, it's a heated debate. No, really, Oklahomans actually debate this all the time.
Oh, this is a hot topic. What is the correct way to get out of a lane that's coming to an end? Well, we found there's no universal answer, but there's one method called the zipper merge that's gaining in popularity.
Zipper merge.
When I was growing up, I remember going on road trips, and as we approached construction and as a lane would be ending, my father would merge way in advance, and so would everybody else. We would drive along with the lane that would be ending still open for a long way, and some cars would zip down that line all the way to where the construction zone begins,
Yes.
then merge over. For many
Yeah.
Oklahomans, including my father, at least back then, this was viewed as very rude and cutting in line.
I really get annoyed by drivers who actually do that. Because it's so rude.
Therefore, it
It
was
is rude.
super common for my father, along with a lot of other drivers, to drive in both lanes in order to block those line skippers, aka zipper mergers,
Wow.
from getting up to the
Wow.
front of the line. Now in Germany, German drivers would probably find it a little scary how much debate and confusion there is amongst American drivers as to how to merge at construction sites, because in Germany it is fairly clear that the zipper merge is the way to go. In fact, it is written in black and white in the Straßenverkehrsordnung in paragraph 7, section 4. Drivers exhaust the entirety of both lanes and then
Yeah.
file in where the
Oh,
lane
wow.
ends, just like a zipper. And the science doesn't lie.
Studies show traffic moves 35 to 40% faster when drivers zipper merge.
Zipper merging really is better and should be made much more common in the
You know,
US.
this just shows like what kind of topics are there in developed world.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember India talking any time about this thing. Zipper thing.
Because they are so focused, because even they are noticing even the tiniest things that we suffer, people suffer from. They have solution for everything.
And for us it is like we do whatever we want. Like
Yeah, it's not a topic of discussion.
wow.
California maintains it's better to early merge, saying the zipper merge is a recipe for rear-enders.
Okay, but California does everything backwards, so I can't expect them to get it right. But come on, Oklahoma, let's figure it out.
Ice baby.
The next thing in Germany that I have found to be genius is their ice cream. So in the US, you have what I guess you would call American ice cream that we obviously just call ice cream. And this is the dominant form of this dessert. But in Germany, Ice can be a bit confusing because generally Germans don't always use different words to distinguish between ice cream and gelato, where Americans are very particular about making this distinction. Germans might call some ice cream assortments in Germany Amerikanisches Eis, or I've even seen ice cream American style if they know the difference. For example, Ben & Jerry's is an American ice cream brand which you can find in most places in Germany. But to be specific, gelato style of ice cream definitely is the dominant form in Germany. So really, this genius difference is thanks to
in India also we say
Italians
different
in
gelato
Germany, but
ice cream.
I experienced it in Germany, so that's why it's in this video. And no, gelato is not just the Italian translation for ice cream. They are scientifically different things. But what's the genius difference, you are asking? Well, in Germany, we usually just get the Edeka Gut und Günstig brand from the grocery store to eat at home. And the ice cream we always get in the US, Bluebell.
Bluebell
Now,
ice
both
cream.
of these are fairly good representations of the vastly different experiences of eating ice cream at home between Germany and the US. In the US, you want some ice cream, you grab your spoon, you grab the ice cream out of the freezer,
Yeah.
you go to
Yeah.
scoop it, and
Oh,
in
yes.
Germany, you do the same process, but when you go to scoop,
Why? Like, their fridge does not work?
Yeah. Temperature or some hot watch.
legit, every time you get ice cream in Germany,
But how? Why?
unlike
Wow.
in the US.
Yeah, same in India.
Now, we learned this the hard way because in the US we are so used to ice cream being so hard when you first take it out of the freezer. You typically would actually let it sit on the counter
Yes,
for a while as
same.
you wait for it to soften before trying to scoop it, or if you're impatient and don't have the forearm strength to manhandle out the scoops you want, you might
Heat
even
it.
throw it in the microwave just for a couple of seconds to soften it a bit in order to serve it. So being used to doing this in the US, the first time we bought ice cream in Germany, we sat it out on the counter, and when we came back to serve it after letting it soften, we found just a pool of ice cream. That's when we learned, oh, in Germany the ice cream is soft straight out of the freezer, and if you let it soften before serving, it's just going to completely
how?
melt. So
Yeah.
why is ice cream so genius
Yeah.
in Germany that they have engineered it to be soft and ready to enjoy straight out of the freezer? Well, since I am just an expert at eating ice cream, not an expert at making ice cream, I had to look online and I found that there are a couple of factors that contribute to the hardness differences, namely amount of fat, freezing temperature, and amount of air in the ice cream. So I try to compare the ingredients between these two brands and the nutritional information to compare the fat content, and they look to my untrained eye fairly similar in terms of the ingredients, and
Yes.
some variations exist in the fat content in minor ways.
Minor.
So from what I can tell, it seems like the secret actually is air. No, the air in Germany isn't pure or better, but the amount of air whipped into ice cream during manufacturing must be what's causing the texture difference. Now, I personally have never purchased American ice cream in Germany that is true American ice cream that you can also get in the US, like Ben & Jerry's. And in my research for this video, I did get curious as to whether or not it is sold as hard as American ice cream typically, or if it is Germanized and is soft. So this is going to be a live on-camera test. I got my first ever Ben & Jerry's ice cream in Germany. I literally grabbed it out of the
American,
freezer
right?
just now
And
and
this
sprinted up here to see if it's soft or hard. Let's see.
It is.
It is soft.
It is mixed.
Oh. That's actually pretty soft.
It's soft.
I wouldn't say it's
The
as
mouth
soft
is
as
watery.
normal
It is
German
not the
ice cream,
normal
but
soft.
it does seem like it's softer than maybe what I would typically get in the US. That could be maybe a difference in the freezer temperatures, or it could be the fact that this is a super hot room with no air conditioning. And in the US we have air conditioning, so the houses are freezing as well, so it started melting quicker than it typically would in the US, but that's a good one.
99.
Nice.
Real quick, I want to remind you guys that we now have Passport 2 merch, and I have links in the description of the video where you can go and check it out. If you're a fan of Passport 2 or just a fan of traveling and spreading peace and love like our logo looks like, then we have this stuff for you. I also want to take a moment to thank all of our patrons over on Patreon for their continued support through the years. I truly can never express my gratitude enough, and if any of you are interested in joining our Patreon, I also have links for that in the description. But if the rest of you guys wouldn't mind just hitting those like and subscribe buttons and leaving a comment on this video, that also goes an enormous way in supporting our channel, and I would really appreciate you doing that. Now, let's get back to the video. Germans are so much better in bed. At least designing beds. They
Okay.
are so much better at
Designing
how they
beds,
put
oh.
together the bedding. What I mean is, in my personal opinion, German beds are so much more genius than the traditional and general American beds.
Oh.
To start, when you very first see a true bed that a German couple would use, you will see that they normally are made something like this. Whereas
What is the
American beds
difference?
will be made like This
Oh.
one German norm that, to be completely honest, has tried to divide our family, and we have had to have many discussions about whether or not we will adopt it. I am in favor of going full German with this, but Aubrey just can't bring herself to become comfortable with, well, that is having separate duvets on the bed for each of us to have our
Oh.
own. Yes, in the US, when a couple sleeps in the same bed, there will always be just one comforter, duvet, sheet, or whatever the covering may be, and that's something that I never questioned until moving to Germany. However, in Germany, couples will each have their own duvet and not share between the two of them. And I don't think
Why?
it's any better than that, to be honest. I love the idea that we don't have to fight over the covers at night when one person rolls over and burritos themselves, the other isn't left.
But
in
what
the
about
cold,
love
and I can
sharing?
wrap myself up in a shield from Aubrey's
They're talking
ice
about
cold
sheets.
feet at night. Now, for Aubrey, she has said that she loves the closeness without any
Yes,
barriers when
yes.
we have just one duvet. To her,
Aubrey,
it
high
feels
five.
kind of like a modern day compromise of the separate twin beds for a couple you would see in the 1950s, for example. And in her opinion, the US has just completed the normal progression from separate twin beds to sharing the same bed and sheets, whereas
Yes.
Germans are stuck somewhere in the middle. But beyond just the separate duvets, Germans also have separate mattresses, typically, which I also find genius, and which we
No.
also
This is very weird.
unfortunately still have not compromised
No.
on. In the US, the value of having two separate mattresses is not an idea that is lost on Americans, though. Just for some reason, we are stuck in the mindset that we must have one mattress on a bed. Which
Yes.
it's actually funny to put it that way because in Germany you actually can get stuck in between the two mattresses on a bed, which is a downside. In this space between mattresses you can get stuck in between actually has a specific name called a Besucherritze or
Besucherritze.
visitor's deck. Don't ask me why, I'm sure someone will write the answer for this name in the comments below. But in the US we do have mattresses that, for example, have remote controls that allow the partner sleeping in the bed to manually select their own size firmness or softness so they can have two different sleeping experiences. Or there are specialty split head mattresses in which you can adjust the head height for each
What
partner.
is
And
happening?
So
This
those
is very
also even
weird.
have the firmness adjustment for both
Why?
sides as well. But is all of
This
this
should not exist
over-engineered
everywhere.
and overly expensive
Over-engineered.
solutions to a simple problem? Maybe.
not a
Which
problem.
is why Germans, in their efficient
Problem,
ways,
yeah.
said just put two separate mattresses on a bed, and if you don't like the gap, buy a gap filling piece. Then we both can have the mattress we like. Genius.
No, I don't agree with that, Germany.
One of the most intimidating things about learning German, but what I find to be one of the most genius parts of the German language that I wish English had, is compound words. Okay, in English we also have compound words like football, grandparent, fireman, anti-disestablishmentarianism. Only German allows for much longer and more complicated combinations like Bundesausbildungsförderungsgesetz, which actually is a relatively short word with only 33 letters compared to words like, well, this one, coming in at 63 letters. So you may look at this as a non-German speaker and say, well, why is that genius when it looks insanely complicated
Yeah.
and cumbersome?
It does not
Well,
look good.
let's look at a smaller compound German word to understand why this is so genius. Faultier. What could
Faultier.
this word mean? Well,
Fault.
foul would be translated as lazy and Tier as animal. What would be a lazy animal? A sloth. Okay, let's try something a little bit harder. Torschlusspanik. Well, we have Tor meaning gate, Schluss meaning closing, and Panik meaning, well, panic. So obviously this word means the gate closing panic you feel when your town is closing the city gate at night and you're going to be
Wow.
locked out. Well, at least it's a feeling that is similar to that medieval feeling, I guess, because it actually means the feeling you get like you're going to be missing out on something in life, such as marriage as you get older and are still single. But do you see the genius in this system? These incredibly long and scary German words are actually just a bunch of smaller words
Yeah, they're
smushed
just
together.
combined.
Rather than when a word maybe doesn't exist in a language, a new invention comes along, or somebody has a hard time explaining an emotion, German allows for new words to be made using old words that everybody could understand rather than inventing up some new term that nobody else would be able to understand. For
wow.
example, how often do you find yourself cooking a nice boiled egg but can't actually eat it? You try cracking it, rolling it, smashing it to get that delicious soft inside, but every time it just ends up being a crumble mess of shell and egg. What a mess. Well, not anymore, thanks to the German engineering and the Eierschalen-Verursacher. Yep, that is an actual tool in Germany, although the name technically is a gimmicky marketing stunt that takes advantage of the German language ability to create insanely long words. But that doesn't change the fact that a German could look at this word and read it as eggshell intended breaking point causer or something like that. Oh, and this is a fun example because this word is like a Russian nesting doll where inside this compound word you have other compound words already. Sometimes words could even be infinitely long, like technically could be done with numbers considering numbers in German are all spelled out as one word. For example, 999,999 is spelled like this. So the higher you count, the longer the word gets. But essentially, if English had the same rules as German, this old law, which is translated like this, would simply be written like this.
Cattle marketing beef.
So genius.
Oh, no, it's not.
To see who made it this far into the video, the random question of the week is: how often do you wash your jeans?
I agree to some things but don't agree to some, because like that German big thing words are like they're too big, and why do you hate like space in between words? Because I think so that gives you time and that gives you like proper things and proper understanding to say other than just saying it in one sentence. So I don't think so that is genius.
I think I cannot just pronounce those words. Even I don't know about them, but I cannot pronounce those like lengthy words in like a one breath because this is very complicated. And also, yeah, this was cool that we can just break and understand, but we don't know where to break and where to start, where the new word is coming up and where it is joined or something like that. And also, if we talk about the bad thing, so I'm not totally agreeing with this because what is the feeling of being together?
Yeah.
Like if you have that separate thing, that why separate thing? Yeah, you can have your like blanket or something like that separate if you are like fighting or something like that. Maybe, but mattresses, even the mattresses, that is very weird.
Yeah, first the sheets, then the mattress. So I thought like just have two different beds.
Yeah.
Then just
What's the
don't call
point of
yourself
sleeping
husband wife.
together?
Yeah, like what is the point? So like in Germany, if I say someone that we slept together, that actually it is not true that we are sleeping together, because actually she might be sleeping in a row sheet and I might be sleeping in my own sheet.
Sleeping like this because they have remote controls of that.
They have in America.
Oh, that in America. Oh.
And this one they have here. So it was very complicated.
weird.
It is just developed world things that was too much for us Indians. So what do you guys think about it? Do let us know in the comment section below. So do like, share and
Subscribe.
bye.
Bye.